Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you are listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Maven,
Hey y'all.
Erithert,
Hello.
Carvette,
At your service and your families.
and Lilykate.
Hello.
And let us go into our game news for this week. And our first bit is the new legendary item system. A little Q&A about what is changing in the system. And Terry, what's this all about?
Well, there's lots changing in the system. They on Thursday's stream, because they do one every week. Forlorn had Jinja on, and they did a Q&A session about the legendary item system, which they saved as a highlight on their Twitch channel, and then they also cross-posted it over to YouTube. And then a very kind person over on the forums wrote up a little bit of a transcript with some of the highlights. Not all of the things, so if you really want to get the whole picture, I highly recommend the video because it is a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting information on here. Basically, what I came away with is they're still collecting information. They really, really want feedback. Going on the forums and saying this sucks is not feedback. Give them give them details. Tell them why it sucks. Give them numbers. Like I used to have this many things and now I only have this many. And yeah, they're taking a look at all of it, and don't freak out about what's on there now because it's not final. They're still working on things. They're still testing things. So, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to put in their information. And Jin just said several times he is definitely listening. They're all listening. They may not necessarily have the resources to act on what we all want, but they're aware of what we all want.
And they can't please everybody.
Yeah, they can't
Right.
please everybody. But I got a really positive vibe from this video. It's a lot of fun to listen to the guys talk. So
It was definitely I was there and listening to it, but it was definitely the most information-packed and open and honest. Like, this is what's going on. This is why we're doing this. This is why we haven't yet done that. Yep, we know about that bug. We're working on taking care of it. That I've
That's
ever seen
great.
from them.
I think
It was
that's
yeah,
great.
absolutely
it
amazing.
really was. It was the most transparent I've ever seen them be.
I wouldn't say ever, but definitely probably since Sapiens, when he was doing his dev streams with some of the devs. It's been a while since we've had news, so that's really the main thing. It's been over 6 months since they've even had the chance to do something like this. So it's good to see them returning to speaking with the community. I would say, if you've been on beta and have seen everything there, then you probably know all the LI changes if you messed with the system enough that they talk about here. This video is really for like confirming that they're willing to look at feedback and talking about like kind of their vision for how the system is going to progress, which I thought was pretty good.
All right, then. Then let us head into the anniversary, which is rapidly approaching. And Terry, when does the anniversary start, and what are the rewards for this year?
Well, technically, the anniversary starts tonight at midnight, because according to the article, it makes it sound like that's when people are going to see drops, is after midnight Eastern Daylight Time. So keep an eye out. The actual festival is going to be starting on the 15th, which is next
Day of the
next
week.
week. Next Wednesday.
Sorry, it's the day next week. I had to check. I was thinking Tuesday because usually it starts on Tuesdays, but the 15th is actually Wednesday. And it's going to be running through the 28th. And so rewards years 1 through 7 are not changing. The new tier this year is for year 8. And so your Freep will receive an 8-year character portrait frame, a hooded cloak, and some fireworks. And Monster Play characters will receive creep-inspired fireworks and 5% attack damage times 5.
I'm excited about creep fireworks.
I want to see them so badly.
I'm really interested to see what they come up with. Like if it's like, hobbits with big X's over them or something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what the fireworks are. That could
Yeah,
get
so I'm kind of really
some
hoping that they
interesting
do
places.
actually drop tonight because I will definitely be Creepside to check that out.
Ah,
Yeah, I
I
kind of
want to
wish
see.
Freepside that they do a little bit more, because like one year it was literally just the war steed appearance of a horse that you got previously, and then this year it's just a cloak. I kind of wish, like eventually, like say year 10 in particular, like that's a big milestone. They give like a really big outfit or something that's not just like one single item. Because I feel like people who've been playing for 8 years kind of deserve more than just one thing every year, but that's just me.
All right. Yeah, I completely forgot what last year's reward was. I guess I'll find out tonight.
Last year's reward was the best thing ever for wargs.
It was the work dancing emote.
Yeah.
For Creepside it was good, but again, for Freepside it's been kind of neglected, so.
Well, Freeps get all kinds of other stuff.
This is true,
Yeah.
but it'd be nice, anniversary to get good stuff, but I've complained enough about that.
All right, then. Let's then head into Cosmetic Pets. I presume this is a Cosmetic Pet article, Lily.
It is indeed. Yes, this is amazing for me because I never really have anything to say in the news items. But this week, a friend of mine, Crazy Pants, shout out to her, she tweeted an image of the icons you get when you're opening up the information on rep vendor items. And she posted a screenshot of all these wonderful new rep vendor items that she managed to find that have just gone live on the new beta. They weren't live when she posted these. And it shows that you can get tomes of several pets, and we've got a very formal cat, a ginger cat, a brown rabbit, a pinto rabbit, which is the one you can find in Gondor, a brown fox, a sleek fox, a tan sheep, a brown sheep, and a brown squirrel. And if you're at all interested in emotes, there's something about waving a banner of the king or some
I'm
such
excited about
nonsense.
that one.
So Lily Kate, when did you start working at Turbine to make all these changes happen?
There's a few of us who've been campaigning for kitties and bunnies for quite a while now. I think they're just compensating us for the loot. But
Yeah.
yeah, a friend, a contact of Crazy Pants, actually posted on LOTRO forum some screenshots, and you can actually find a little picture of the both of the cats. No, one cat, a fox, the tan sheep. Yeah, both cats, and one of the rabbits, and they look really adorable. They just already, I think, animals that you can find in game. Not sure about the sheep, but really looking forward to being able to barter for these animals. I hope it's not too expensive, but yeah,
Now, the
lots
next
of
thing I want is I want to be able to have like 3 or 4 of them all at once,
yeah.
following me around.
I
That would be
think we've
awesome.
got
Of the
I think
rabbits?
I think we've got to leave the
Well,
law
whatever.
master something.
Just
don't
like
you?
have them
Poor
breed
things.
actively while you carry them around?
No,
I
it's
want
like that instance in Fangorn where you rescue the animals from the traps, and every time you rescue the animal, they follow
and
you
they
around for
follow
the rest of the
you.
instance, and
Yeah,
you end up with like 4 or 5 little animals following you around. It's great.
that would be cute, wouldn't it? I still want a hobby horse, but said about that. Yep, so new pets on the way with the update. Looking forward to
Cool.
it.
All right, then let's go into the store sales. What's on sale this week?
The free sample of the week is a Slayer Deed Accelerator for 60 minutes. Use coupon code KLL60 one time per account. We also have 25% off some creep stuff, monster classes, monster traits, monster skills, and a 100% infamy renown gain, which was last week's free sample. And also we have another bonus Pineleaf weekend, 25% skirmish mark boost, April 10th through the 12th.
All right, very well. Then let's head
Real
into
quick.
these.
I think like it's interesting they've got like the mark boost this weekend right after they tell everybody, hey, you're going to need a whole lot more marks and medallions than however much you've got to make your legendary item good. I think it's good that they're doing that. I hope they keep that up for a little while to help people get ready.
All right, then let's head into the site news, please. And the first item is, what do you like most about the Update 16 beta? And that's our poll for this week. And what are the choices?
Well, there are a lot of choices, finally. Fan in first place with 34%. 55 votes is new instances. Nobody's surprised. What is kind of surprising is that with 25%, 40 votes is the view of Minas Tirith. You can't go to Minas Tirith, but just the view of Minas Tirith gets
Wow.
25% of our audience happy. Or at least is what they're most
Excited.
excited about.
Easily pleased bunch.
I also voted for view of Minas Tirith because that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, that was my vote too.
Yeah, me too.
Playable landscape. So apparently it was just us and like a few other people that voted for Minas
I
Tirith.
think
But anyway.
I vote for the landscape.
And yeah, playable landscape comes in next with 19%, so 31 people came in with Locate. And legendary item changes at 17% with 28 votes. And other with 5% of the vote.
Gee, I wonder what
the
that
other
was.
is.
Yeah.
So I'm curious
Legendary item update.
with the playable landscape. Sorry, I'm talking over you, Arthur. You want me to stop?
No, go ahead. I'm totally being an idiot.
I'm curious, like with playable landscape, I'm kind of under the assumption that the entire game is playable landscape. So what is it that like is like so new about the central, the new, I guess, Western Gondor, Eastern Gondor, whatever it is? What is it like? They're just excited that there's some
Osgiliath?
new areas. Yeah, Osgiliath. I mean, obviously Osgiliath is pretty
Mordor?
cool as far as the city.
You can see into.
Well, you can't play Mordor. You can see
You
it.
can go up
I
and
was
get
just
hit by a
curious.
troll. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
You
Well,
can
there you
casually
go.
If you're
scroll
into
to
that
it.
sort of thing.
You just can't go in it.
Okay, I was just curious. I was like, well, what is it? What is it about the new landscape that's differentiated from the rest of it, other than the fact that it's just bigger landmass for us to explore?
Lots of oliphants.
Well,
I
I
wanna
know a
ride
lot of
one of
people
those.
really like just landscape in general. Like, for example, Thoros, that's the reason he plays Lotro is because of the landscape. So, I can definitely see how landscape could be a thing for a lot of people if they're not too into just looking at Minas Tirith and want stuff they actually want to be able to play in.
Cool, awesome.
All right, then. Now, of course, with Minas Tirith and these new areas, we were just beginning to wonder what's next. And Andang, do we have any predictions for that?
Well, Pineleaf, you have amnesia, like more on this show than any other time. It's amazing. Yes, Pineleaf and Terry and Trish all got together with me to do a
Trish? Who's
predictions
Trish?
video.
Maven.
I don't know who Trish is, but I'm pretty sure I made the same mistake on that show. So at least I have continuity. At least there's continuity. All
That's
right. So yes, we talked about what we thought would be coming next after Minas Tirith, and looking forward into Mordor and all sorts of places. And this caused a lot of discussion both on the site and on the video. And so it seems that people are really interested to see where we're going next. And I'm really excited too because, you know, we don't know when things are going to end per se. And so it will be very interesting to see if it, you know, see what they do between now and 2017. And so I'm excited to find out because if, you know, it'll be interesting when LOTRO, because I'm guessing we're going to go to Mordor some way. So it's going to be really exciting to see how all that happens.
That's what I
Yeah.
should have predicted. I should have predicted there would be an announcement that they're extending the license. That's what's next.
We learned that Terry doesn't know Gondor geography like at all.
Well,
That
yes.
was embarrassing.
Well, then, or we might be sent back to the dead marshes and meet bunches of ghosts. Well, you know what we had to send into the dead marshes?
Who, Pineleaf?
The Ghostbusters, of course.
Oh, wow. Wow.
God.
Badoo.
Wow.
Segue.
That
Really?
was okay. 1 out of 10, Pineleaf. 1 out of 10.
I think that's giving him too much credit.
In case you're wondering, that was a segue into our LOTRO video highlight.
I think that
And
was a
dang.
point for
Lexicon in the
courage.
chat saying, "Can I unheart that?"
All right. Well, Andang, what is this music highlight?
Well, Pineleaf, it has nothing to do with the Dead Marshes, but this video is going into people who are playing Ghostbuster music, and they actually did a really good job, I thought, in transposing it into the ABC file system, and I really enjoy it. This was way back in 2008 when this video was released, and back when the music system worked, and
Ouch!
people seem to have really enjoyed this video. It has thousands and thousands of views, and for good reason, because this song was just transposed really, really well. So if you're a fan of Ghostbusters or just want to hear really well transposed music, feel free to watch this video. It's pretty awesome.
I did watch it, and I will say that whoever did the transcribing did a fabulous job getting the bass line on the theremin and then putting the high notes on the lute.
Yeah.
It sounds really good.
Could you sounded like Lily Kate.
Commiserations from me because it doesn't sound like that anymore. Sorry.
I have a small violin playing a very sad song for you.
All right, very well. Also, this week we had another update to the family line, part 39. What happens at the inn? And
Well, what does happen at the end?
What does?
well, we can't go into too many details of that because you have to read it to find out.
Pineleaf's just the segue guy. He doesn't spoil the articles. Come on.
Yeah. And so the series continues. You could probably guess at which end, considering where they were last week in the Lone Lands. So
Yeah, it's
you make a
wow,
guess.
spoiler alert.
We also we also have an update to the series with Kaylee Starshine, where she speaks with a certain elf whom you're always speaking to in LOTRO.
The guy in that place with those things.
Yeah,
That
the
doesn't
guy in
have a
those places
mailbox.
with those things.
That you do things with.
Yes.
Repeatedly.
Who then goes and sends you out somewhere else, where you
Then you
go
go back.
from?
And then you talk to him again
And then you
Right.
leave again.
And then you come and see him again.
in the place where you do things
Right.
with the
With
things.
stuff. Yes.
At least he's there when you come to talk to him. It'd be terrible if you come back and there's just like an out to lunch sign and you just have to wait on him.
Yeah, or just
Wait
nobody
for that to
there.
happen.
Although sometimes you do get that delay while they're loading up characters and it takes them quite a while.
Elrond, where are you?
You spoiled it! Dang it!
If you hadn't figured it out by then I'm sorry.
And
I will say
And
though, it was
and
just
it looks
as
like
awesome
they're
as
getting
always.
set up for next week's. I think I can make a good guess as to what the next episode is going to be, where they're getting ready for a very early day assault.
Well, don't spoil that one too. Let's at least give him
Okay.
a chance to
So
read it this week.
let's go into the pick of the week.
Okay, so the pick of the week this week is an article that I came across my Twitter a few days ago. It's on Penny Arcade, where one of the guys on Penny Arcade wrote about he went and spoke at the PTA about games. And this was incredibly interesting because he talks a lot in here about Minecraft, but it's easily translatable over to like LOTRO, which is also kind of kid friendly. And it's got a lot of good answers to questions like, parents that don't understand the whole gaming life don't tend to freak out about what their kids are playing, and they don't really understand, how they can, I guess, be involved, or that they even can be involved. Like, they don't seem to
Yeah.
get that my child is playing this game. Why are they playing this game? And he was like, well, you should probably ask them why they enjoy playing the game.
Minor little
And
detail.
I think that's very tough to regulate as a kid in terms to the parents. It's very easy to, say why you enjoy it, but the parent might not understand that. And, It's very tough, but I think the best way is probably just saying, video games are a type of art, and you're experiencing a modern version of art that's interactive and is much more involving than any other art form. And it's very tough to articulate that because of how different a medium it is than what some parents are used to. And so, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this article. It was a really good one.
And it had a good balance. Like, and it was good for parents. And
Hmm.
I mean, I'm planning on sharing it for sure.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. Share it with my parents.
Well, and it wasn't just like tips for parents, but
Oh yeah.
um, you know, it was tips like if you don't really get why, if they can't really articulate to you why they enjoy playing the game, just sit and watch them play it and ask them questions about it while they're playing it. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why do you enjoy about and deeper questions, which it's funny because no, I guess like people don't really talk about this stuff, but that's the kind of thing that my mom was great about. She actually still is great about it. That's one of the reasons why she plays LOTRO with me, because she's we got talking about it, and so it's something that we have in common. So yeah, my mom has picked up LOTRO sort of, kind of, not real well, but she plays it until she gets frustrated because she can't find anything, and then she's like, I need you to help me with this.
Yeah, it was nice to see another parent's perspective on gaming and being able to know that there are parents out there who aren't necessarily quote gamers, and I use that with the air quotes. The idea that you may not know what your kids are involved in, and whenever a game says content okay, but then it has that little tagline that says online content is not the same caliber or whatever, then you get into a whole new world, And so I've got 3 kids, and they like to watch me play LOTRO, and I try not to play the scary stuff when they're here, but they also like to play Minecraft, and I won't let them go on Minecraft yet because I'm not quite up to that place. But if they want to play with me, then we play, but I play or their mom plays together, so it's always a tandem. There's never just go run around the server of Landreval and see who you run into. I'm always like kind of like I'm a very active parent when it comes to what are you guys doing, what are you watching, how are you doing that. I mean, honestly, sometimes I think my eldest would rather just sit there and watch other people play Minecraft on YouTube, and I'm like, don't you want to do it yourself? You've got half an hour, 2 hours worth of computer time you can play. No, that's fine, I'll watch what they're doing. Okay. But yeah, it was really nice to see that. I kind of perused the article, and I'm going to give it a deeper read later on. But it was definitely nice to see that I'm not the only one out there who thinks that my kids are need some shepherding, so to speak.
All right then. Now, of course, when they do become LOTRO players, they'll have some new player questions, and this is where we answer that. So therefore, Maven, what's the question this week?
Much better, Pineleaf. That was at least a
Much
7. Good
That
job.
was much better. So
Wait a minute, I
what's the
thought we
deal-
got rid of the skirmishes because we were like not feeling like we were judging each other.
Oh, that's each
Understand.
other.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Oh,
mean
yeah.
Yeah, we can judge Pineleaf.
Oh,
There's
oh,
no.
okay.
He judged us for that long. We're getting back at him. That's all.
All right, sorry.
So the new player question this week is, what's the deal with kinships, and what are the pros and cons about joining or not joining? Just jump right in there, folks.
Well,
Just
probably
go for
the
it.
biggest pro is the potential of having other players online that you could ask to join you in instances or to help you when you have a particularly tough quest.
Okay. Yep.
I would say another
That
huge
that's makes it really easy.
huge pro is it turns the game into, wait, that's another person over there. How do you know if it, like, my I I got my mom started to play, which was awesome. And she's trying to figure out how to walk around and stuff. And she's like, now that's another, how do you know when it's a person, when it's not a person? And I didn't really have an answer for it, but it was, you just know. But it's kind of weird because it changes the game for you. Being in a
Yeah.
kinship lets you know it's not just you running around doing stuff by yourself,
Right.
but you run around and do things with people. You hanging out and chat with those people. Some kinships, each kinship has a different feel, but some kinships, like the kinship that I'm in on Gladden, Rangers of the West, it's it is LOTRO family for me.
Yeah.
And
I and
it,
I think that's a really good point about kinships. Not all they're not all equal. In other words, they're not all the same.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for somebody to be aware, like aware of the kinship. And also, some kinships are actually quite formal in terms of application process and whatnot, and I
mhm,
guess others are not so much, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we have.
I went through three different kinships very quickly because it's important to find the one that's right for you, and that can take a very long time. And so when you join a kinship, try it out for a while, but don't be afraid to, go out the back door and move on to another kinship too, because it's very tough to find one that works really well for you. I spent with one of the tribes on Creepside that's the same thing as kinship on Creepside, that I finally joined up with. I spent an entire summer just playing with those people most of the time of the day because that was back when I was in high school and could do that sort of thing. Um, and so it just totally changed the way that I looked about Lotro because being able to spend that much time with people, you get pretty close to them. And
Mhm.
so you really do start to feel like a Lotro family. It's pretty amazing. It really does, you really do start to become fairly close friends because especially if you have voice chat on, you're basically, talking on the phone to them for, as long as you're talking to them. And so it can really change the way you look at the game. As far as for application processes, yeah, Lonely Mountain Band has a really major application process. But that shouldn't scare you away either, because Lonely Mountain Band is one of my favorite kinships that I've ever been a part of, and it's a ton of fun. But at the same time, it does take a little bit to get into because you have to go and make an application, and then there's an actual interview process. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. But that's because the kinship is so good that they really try to keep that, you know, their
Right.
community up. So.
Same thing with the Rangers of the West on Gladden. There's like a little get to know you 5 question survey application thing on their website. And then this just, yeah, make sure we talk to one of our officers, talks to you before we invite you in. And I did. I was a little scared because I had no idea. But now I'm like, I'm so glad that they do that
Mhm.
because it lets you know, oh, the people that are coming in aren't people that are gonna mess the place up, and kind of ruin that family feel. And there have been people, in the past that have come into a kinship and really kind of made it not fun. And that's some of the cons of joining a kinship, I think, is sometimes you have to kind of deal with people you'd rather not deal with
Yeah.
occasionally. You get in each other's nerves sometimes, but it's like any other family, just to a lesser degree. But it's like any other family. There's good parts about it, there's poor parts about it, but overall, joining a kinship is definitely a way to make your gameplay so much richer and so much better than it would be any other way.
Yeah. I
Now,
remember concern
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I remember concerning kinships is at one time I created a new character. I was just starting to get up and someone blind one of those blind invitations, someone invites me to a kinship who's never heard of me or anything like this. I get a blind invitation to a kinship, and before I could blink my eyes, of course, because I was thinking I was hitting a different window, so of course so it thought I accepted the invitation. So I get all this thing, welcome to the kinship and all this stuff. And then 3 seconds later, I see you have been promoted to officer. And wait a
Oh my
minute!
gosh.
And
What
Oh
do you,
dear.
that is honestly the biggest negative I think about kinships is those people who are spamming invites, and particular in on certain servers that I've been on, there are people that are just constantly spamming in like one of the town centers or somewhere like that about their kinship, and typically
You
that's
can't.
not one that you want to join because typically that's
Yeah.
just the one
No,
that just wants numbers and doesn't
you
necessarily
can turn
want.
that. You can turn that off, can't you, Andan?
Yes, you can.
You can turn
Yeah.
off the
Yes,
invites,
you can
yeah.
turn off the invites, but you can't turn off the people spamming in Bree
No,
In
that's
about
chat.
true.
Yeah.
you wanting them
Uh,
to join their kinship. So that's definitely a
Mm.
negative, but at the same time, people spam about all sorts of things. So you know.
So how do you recommend somebody learn about kinships? I think one of the things is, of course, the person's kin affiliation is under their name in game,
Mhm.
right? So you can
Mhm.
kind of notice if somebody's being a jerk, look at their kin
I
and
think
then
that
say, okay, that's put out on the not, don't join that kin list.
the
But
best thing I've found is to ask, like play for a little bit, and then when you start, there'll be a few people that you group with, and if they've got a couple good people that are really nice, a lot of times they might say, "Hey, we've got a kinship, you want to join?" But another good way is literally just to ask in world chat, looking for a kinship, but don't just leave it at that. Because if you say looking for a
Mhm.
kinship, you're going to get 20 people be like, "Join ours, please." Every
Yeah,
time, every time I
Yeah.
ask, every time someone asks me that, I say, "What kind of things do you like to do in the
yeah,
game?" Because there's like a kinship that's totally nothing but end game rating in PvP. And if you're just starting out and you don't want to do either of those, that's not going to be a good fit for you. And if you
Right.
want to do that, then a more social, relaxed kin is not going to be a good fit for you. So make sure you talk to whoever. Just put it out there. Say, "Hey, I'm looking for a kinship who does this type of thing a lot," and
Yeah,
then just talk to people and get a handle for it.
to expand on that, I think, go out and try to get in pugs of that type of content that you like. If you like concerts, go to a concert. If you like raiding, go to, raids. And just once you're there, ask really nice people that are there how to get into their kinship, or if they have recommendations for their kinship, or what their kinship's about. And, they'll get back to you and let you know what their kinship's about. And if that sounds good, join up into it, try out for a while, and you can always leave.
Yeah,
So,
it's actually very easy to leave a kinship. I've done it many times by accident.
Now,
Yes, it is.
yeah,
Wait,
there
okay.
is,
Bye bye. What? Oh.
yeah, there
many
is one
times?
other way you can check.
A couple times, yeah.
There are there in the forums, if you're one who's willing to go there, there is a forum for every single server, and there's a sub forum for all the servers for kinships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see there what the lists are, and it'll give you and I won't tell you how friendly or anything like that they are, but it will at least tell you what their specialties are, what they're looking for.
Yeah.
also
One.
checking the forums, sorry, it will show you which kins are active.
Mm-hmm.
Just by looking, at some of the threads, you can see who's active, who's doing what.
At least
And
who's active in the forums.
yeah. Well, generally, if you're looking at like events, people have their notes on the end of their posts and stuff like that, so you can kind of find out who's doing what quite quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, one other thing that I
Oh,
want to
good.
do,
That's
because
great.
one thing I really liked about this on CSTM was they'd basically, say what parts of kinships that they were, what kinships they were parts of, and kind of give recommendations for different play styles. So I think podcasts can be, a little bit helpful in kind of guiding you in the right direction.
Well, in
So,
that case, do you guys want to share what kinships you're in?
exactly. So, Lily, why don't you share what the Lonely Mountain Band is all about?
I'm an officer in the Lonely Mountain Band. We are music orientated. We have 3 house bands and like the same amount of side bands. But we also do some casual role play. We do some casual raiding. We've got some PvP going on. It is quite formal. It is quite focused on Tolkien, and there is an application process. But it isn't daunting, and it's well worth the trouble if that's the kind of play style that you're looking for.
And it is on
LMB,
Landable.
Landreval, yeah. Oh, we also have some sister kinships on other servers as well.
Wow.
But that's
And you
generally
just had an
when
anniversary.
we've turned 7.
Yeah. Turned 7.
Yeah,
Yay.
usually if we take a band somewhere else, we might set up a kinship and just put the tag up because it's nice. So we've got the Anjun Ensemble, they're over on Laurel Inn, and of course some of my bands now are spreading far and wide. But yeah, there are others. We've got a sister kin on Crick Hollow, and
Cool.
yeah, we do quite well. So check us out. Events, if you want to find us.
And Pineleaf, what kinship are you a part of?
Right, I am on Winfola. I'm part of the House of Blackrock, which is a member of the Winfola Alliance. So lately, I've been doing mainly skirmishes there. There's with the group there, and
That's a
chat.
shock.
I know. I haven't been on Winfola too much lately, so I haven't been doing too much with them except for my weekly skirmishes there. On Arkenstone, I'm a member of the Academy, which is
Yep.
Branix there.
Why don't you
And
tell what type of stuff they do?
well, the Academy is a rather casual one, and it's our big thing is that we meet once a week af on Friday late afternoon, early evening, depending on exactly what time zone you're in, and we get together, chat, and usually do casual type instances. Like yesterday, we were doing a few skirmishes.
And usually it's
It
fitted to whatever group you have.
Yeah, it's fitted to whatever group or what people are in the mood to doing. It's a relatively small kin, and it was founded with the basis as being something for new players to. It, it's hopefully to be one for new players since it's part of the academy, and the LOTRO Academy is obviously, by the name you could guess, is a new player oriented set. On Landraville, I'm in the Starlight Orchestra, so that's one of
Hee
one of Lily Kate's side kinships. So she has one of her alts founded that, and so we have a kin house there, and that makes it a nice rehearsal place for us to have.
Yeah, that was solely created so we had a private rehearsal space.
Right, because it's a real pain if you are trying to rehearse and it's the summer anniversary and people are setting off fireworks in in the middle of the metal stage or something like that.
Not only that, but if I'm kind of playing 5 seconds and calling a cut, it'll annoy other players, won't it? So I like to do that out of the way.
Right, and those are the only ones I can remember. I also have a personal kinship on some servers that I've set up for a project that I still haven't gotten off the ground, but maybe there'll be more information on that at a later time.
Okay, secret Pineleaf
Well, that's all the
project.
time we have, folks. Thanks for joining us. Good night. Thanks for joining us for Pineleaf's Kinship episode.
You asked the question.
It's funny because it's true.
This is true. This is true. No, it was good. That was good. It was interesting, actually.
Mhm.
Who else we got?
Is anyone part of a raiding kinship or anything like that? Silence says no.
Nope. I'm part of a few kinships, but it's faster than Pineleaf's.
Okay, that's probably a good thing.
My main kinship is on Gladden. I'm an officer in the Rangers of the West. I join them because they have an epic name, and they do. And it's more casual and social than anything else. They'll do things like freeze tag on any given day, but they have a couple open grouping nights where just whoever's up and whatever they want to run, they'll do. Sometimes they'll do raids. Other times they'll do a couple people split off and do whatever they're at their levels at. On Landraville, I've got a few characters, and they're each in like a different kin. I think I've got somebody still in the Department of Hobbit Security, which is sort of like the Twitch kin. I've got somebody in the Mythgard kin, which is Trish can tell you more about.
Yay!
And then I've got a couple in the Shirebound Bounders, which is basically you cap them at level 8, and it's entirely roleplay kin. So basically,
The Bounders.
you got a couple little hobbits that are stuck in the Shire forever.
At level
Yeah,
8.
At level 8. That's it.
All right. Anyone else?
Sure. I'll go.
Yeah, I'll talk about mine. My eldest alt, Glordriel Arrow Maven, is the leader of the Mythgard kin, and all of my alts belong to Mythgard mainly because of my affiliation with Mythgard. It's relatively new. I mean, Corey and I just started playing in August. I mean, I'm not even going to get a 1 year anything gift at the anniversary, but that's okay.
Oh,
That's okay. That's okay. That's
she's
okay.
not bitter.
I'm hanging in there. I'll get
You
something
get
next year.
You get
fireworks.
But you
fireworks.
I get
got the
fireworks, so
level
there.
cap
What
already.
what else could you ask for? Anyway, so of course we had to wait. We actually didn't officially launch the kin until we could have a house, so we had to wait a bit after we opened it up. So it's only been a few months, but it's really very inclusive. It's mainly folks who know of the Tolkien Professor or know of Mythgard Institute, and we've had a lot of folks, say be thrilled that we're in the game, and we have new members joining on a weekly basis, and it's there's no particular purpose other than sociability and a lot of what you guys talked about, getting together, questing together. There's the kin manager yesterday had to empty out the kin chest yet again. She said everybody is so generous in this kinship. it's like she had to empty it out and send non-stackables to the auction house again, and I'm like, well, I guess we could have worse problems. Anyway, so it's a pretty new, pretty vibrant, and a lot of the Mythgard kin, of course, show up at the Mythgard Mondays that we've talked
Yep.
about before. That Wiggin/Corey Olson has at the Bird Baby on Mondays. So anyway, so that's us. We're still pretty new, but we're having a good time.
Also, somebody in chat, Zingo, reminded us of tribes. I'm in a tribe on Creepside. And
Noms Ushtar.
Noms Ishtar, yeah, because Ushtar is army, and of course it's basically the Noms army.
Nice.
And on Creepside, tribes have basically the only purpose is just to hang out and help you find people to group up with, and that's about it.
Cool. Well, that was
Yeah.
great. So, who did we miss? Terry, are you in? You're in.
I
You've got
have
a
my
cool
own
kinship.
kinship. My kinship
Ooh.
on
Whoa.
my kinship on Landfall is Flame of Anor, and it's basically made up of like all of my alts and the alts of a handful of people that I know from like outside of LOTRO. So like I've got a couple people that I know from Twitch chat that I invited in, and a couple people that I know from a game that I used to play elsewhere and brought them along. So it's funny because I invited somebody from Twitch chat. He asked if he could be in my kin. I was like, sure. So he logged in and I invited him, and he's like, is everybody in the kinship an officer? And I was like, well, it's made up of like 6 people and all of our alts. So sort of, but it's a closed kinship. It's not really an open to application thing. And then I've got
Right.
I think I have somebody in the Academy on Arkenstone. I've got somebody in Kyle's kinship on Winfollow, so I have a Weasel Whacker Tariadwin. And I've got my Worgen, Noms Ushtar, and a couple of other that I can't remember offhand. But I have like new alts in my default UI. I actually have it saved to turn off the kinship invites because I really hate those ninja invites. And I prefer that if people want to invite me, they like send me a tell and be like, hey, did you want to join our kinship? Which
Yeah.
is actually how I've gotten into a couple of different ones.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the best way I think to see people recruit is if somebody sends you a tell, if it doesn't contain information about what they're recruiting you for, I just ignore it. Same thing with fellowship invites for that matter. I have 2 kinships that I'm a part of, one being Mythgard on my captain, and then the other one is where all the rest of my alts except for one sit, which is the Golden Malorn, which is more of a social casual kinship that was running some retro stuff when I landed on Landreval, so I linked up with them, and we've been running a variety of different things, and they actually kind of help host the level 50 group that we're running on Tuesdays. Level Tuesday, boy, I've been thinking game terms too much. But for me, just kinships in general are like kind of like your gang, so to speak. Not necessarily like you're trying to rough other gangs up for territory, but it's the idea that you know who you're running into.
Well,
And
some
whenever
are.
some are. See, I've had the horrible kin experience where the very first kin I was in was one of those ninja invites, and so I just kind of hung around and checked out how the kin chat was, and I realized after about half an hour this wasn't where I wanted to be, so I left. And then I joined another one, and that was cool, but then some drama happened, and then the whole thing blew up, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of sucky. And then So yeah, I did pros and cons of Kins. Great things, but there is drama sometimes.
All right, then. Let's
Yeah.
then move on to our week in Lotro. And Carvette, what did you do this week?
I did lots of fun stuff. I was
All
like,
right,
what are my
Maven, what'd
notes?
you do this week?
No. No, I was actually focusing on leveling Carvette, my namesake, so to speak, through the epic. I finally got out of the Great River, and I took off that Stone of the Tortoise, and I made it to level 76 in the East Wall. Questing the wife with Mrs. Carve, our Captain Hunter duo finally made it out of Durin's Way, and we're catching up on the epic through Dolvenview in Moria. And then my Lotro CD Warden, Carvion, just finished dealing with all the rumors and romance of Stattle and the associated Slayer deeds in the Midgewater. And so he's left the buggy mess and is run across to the Shire, where he's kind of parked in Little Delving, at which point he'll probably resume questing in the Shire once I can organize a date with Terry Edwin and anybody else that wants to come to run mail and pies.
Yay! I'll
Misery
come.
loves
I'll come.
company.
Yay!
Misery loves company. Well, it's like I have purposefully, with intent to avoid the pie quests for 4 years. And now that I realize it's 100% completionist campaign, I have to do it, which means I'm going to find somebody who, for whatever reason, feels compelled to do it, that's gotten good at it, to
Hey,
be my
Terry.
guide. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've done it on
no.
like 11
That's
characters.
probably me.
And then I also decided, well, heck, let's just make an event of it. I'll invite as many of my friends and peeps from wherever to come along. We'll stream
Oh,
the whole
yeah.
thing and make it a running of the pies.
Right. There you go. Pi R
All
squared.
right, then. Maven, what did you do?
Well, Gloria Arrow Maven is now level 100.
Yay!
Woo!
Dun, bum,
Which is
ba-da-dum,
actually
ba-da-dum.
good and bad news for me. I mean, it's cool because I didn't expect to be level cap at this point, and I actually owe a lot of this to the people that I'm talking to right now. But the bad news is that I actually kind of like running slightly over level when I'm questing, and I realized yesterday, I told Terry, I will not be able to do that anymore. There will be no more slightly over leveled questing for Glordriel once she catches up with all the other stuff. You know, I mean, I can always go back and do deeds in other places, but I don't mean like grossly over leveled, just slightly over leveled. So anyway, I realized yesterday, and there will be no more gray mobs going forward. So, you know, in the new material, I will never see a gray mob in any of the new material, but oh well. I missed my chance. One of the things that was a big disappointment is, for some reason, and I don't know why, I missed my chance to escort Eowyn to Dunharrow and earn a trade point, which is like, that's equally upsetting because that's one of the rewards for doing that particular instance. I think it's an instance.
You can still get the point.
Yeah, you should
I
still
don't
be
know
able
how
to
to
go
get
back
the
and
point.
find it.
I went back and found her, and she's got no ring over her head, and the you know, the thing says, and I did all the stuff, you know, because it says you got to do this part of the epic, and you've got to do this. I did everything. I checked. I looked on the forum. I researched. Other people had the same problem. They said what they did. I did all the stuff they said, and when I went back, she didn't have a ring over. I thought, okay, this is it. She's gonna have a ring over her head now. Nope, she's there, but no ring.
Do you have
So I don't know what the heck's the
it
story.
turned on because there's like a little checkbox where if you're over leveled a certain amount, then the quest won't appear anymore? There's a checkbox in the
I'm not.
options to turn that on.
Well, no, I had the quest. I mean, I have the quest. The quest was there. It's like, you know, she says,
Okay.
okay, I'm ready to go, and I hit accept. So I hit accept, and then it says escort Eowyn to Dunharrow. Well, usually when you do that, especially if it's an instance, there's another ring that comes on, right? Ring didn't come on.
You might have to do it through one of those. Do they even have viewing pools that far in?
Reflecting
They
pools?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think you'd probably have to do it through a reflecting
Oh,
pool
I'll
then.
check that out and see. I'll check.
Because I
That's
had
a
to
good idea.
do
I hadn't thought
do
about
some pretty squirrely stuff in the epic up in Agmar through the reflecting pool that way.
it. Okay. All right. I'll do that. Because I was really, I mean, I wanted to do the instance just to do the instance, but I also want the trade point.
Heck
So
yeah.
I will check on that and let you know how that goes. I actually got into beta, my first experience going into beta, and I haven't done anything in beta yet, but I visit, and I copied over an earlier version of Glordriel, and I visited the Isengard Tavern. And for me, that alone is worth the download of beta. I mean, I had the
Oh
best time
yeah,
in Isengard Tavern. Oh my gosh.
all the names.
Oh my gosh! And the skirmish people all are the epic people. I mean, Legolas and Gimli on the bed were just that was and Gollum is a skirmish trainer. I mean, oh my gosh. So anyway, that was really fun. So I got Glordrill on beta is ready to check out the update 16 area now. And then Terry, bless her pea-picking heart, in spite of the fact that this is not her favorite thing to do in LOTRO, took me through all of the epic battles last night so that I could continue the epic quest. I didn't realize until I got to, until this part of the epic, it's like, oh, there is no way around epic battles. If I want to do the epic, I must do epic battles in order to do the epic. Okay. So I was thinking, well, all right, what am I going to do now? And then Terry's like, oh, well, I'll go with you. And then it was like, okay, let's just do them all. And I'm like, oh, thank God. So we got them all done. It was not a pretty sight. I do not have a lot of medals. I don't have a lot of points, but that's okay. We're through them. And I will go back and Andang, you introduced me to them in the first time.
I'm sorry.
And then we did the deeping wall together. Terry and I managed the deeping wall together, which is, that was like for me the toughest. Actually, I'd failed that like 3 times before she finally took me in.
I always thought that the toughest was Pelargir.
Well, I haven't done Pelargir yet.
Oh, okay.
This was just the epic. This was just helm.
No, Pelargir's easy compared to Deeping Wall. I had a horrible time with that one. I failed it like 6 times.
It's. I don't think I've ever successfully soloed Pelargir.
Any of them? Oh, Pelargir. Well, anyway,
the rest of them I've done.
Was
But Pelargir,
Oh, and I forgot to say, dessert after epic battles was a detailed tour of Dol Amroth. So that made it all.
Awesome.
And we ended the evening dancing with a drunken sailor.
Awesome.
yes. Okay. All right then. Lily, what did you do this last week?
I did some quests.
Ooh.
I actually did some playing LOTRO. It was amazing. Yep, I went down to Pelargir. I freed some slaves. I bossed some guards about, and I fed some hungry people.
That's good.
And then, for some strange reason, I found myself in Moria. I think I was.
Did you just wake up one day? What am I doing here?
I just thought I'd go orc hunting, so I murdered quite a lot of orcs while I was wandering around the flaming deeps. Because sometimes I just get in one of those moods where I want to decimate an entire army of orcs.
I understand this. My Mrs. Carve is good at it. She's like, the kids, I need to kill something. I'm gonna go kill them.
If we filmed this show in person, I'm pretty sure everyone else would just take like 2 steps back from Millicate and Carve right now. But
I would do that. It's Mrs. Carve. You gotta watch out for, man.
So, yeah, also no surprise, I was testing music and I was playing some music. Did a concert today. TSO played a whole new batch of classical pieces that I've created because they were running a horse race. And of course, being in Rivendell, we needed something fitting. And then we had the LMB book club after that, where we're discussing the Children of Hurin. And of course, next week we're touring to Crick Hollow. So I was over there making some forest green dye. Took Lily Kate over there from 0 to, I think it's tier 3 scholar, tier 4 scholar, something like that. A lot of farming. And got some forest green so that everybody can wear their uniforms. And that was my week.
All right, then Aerother.
Lunch again. Yay! We actually did the normal 2 run Snowborn. Unfortunately, toasted a chicken, so they're not done yet. And Arkenstone had a nice run. They slotted into 4th place with 1 hour, 29 minutes, 48 seconds. We still have had nobody come anywhere close to what to what Brandywine did with 1 hour 17. So we'll see what happens with that. And on that second run, we had a great in-depth discussion about TP and all the various forms and customizability that it had, which actually that was on the first, it was on both. It was basically sort of the theme because we were doing a Turbine Point giveaway. And then I think my stream viewers decided for me that when I hit 500 followers, I'm giving away a custom roll of toilet paper. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the
A
thing.
custom roll?
You
Wait a
can
minute.
get
What is a custom
you
roll of
can
toilet
get
paper?
custom monogrammed toilet paper. Did you know that? You can also get it with a chicken print, which I kind of
Okay,
like
that's
better.
well, it's a relief to know that that's what custom toilet paper
You
actually
should
is.
totally put
Okay.
Gandalf on it or
A
something.
relief. Okay.
Pineleaf is trying to steer the conversation quickly away. I can hear it
Yeah.
in his voice. Okay. I'm like, I know that sound.
Yep. So the other thing I did in LOTRO after that is I worked on my Guardian actually, getting ready for the update. I finally broke down and got a two-handed legendary item. I haven't run with a two-handed sword. I'm a Guardian. I've run sword and board since like level 85 or 90. Have not used a two-hander. And I found those like, well, it's time. So I ended up through a very long and laborious process getting a two-handed sword and then spent the time and swapped out all the legacies on it that I wanted and got it all leveled up to level 70 now, which is kind of exciting. And then slowly working on getting the all the tiers of the legacies all tiered up before the update for imbuement purposes. And that's about it.
All right then. So we'll head into my week, and I created a dwarf minstrel on Dwaro Delph and reached level 15, and that's as far as I'm getting Lily Kate. So I'm not going to 25 like I usually do. I already have 125 on that server. And this is the first time in a while where I've done the dwarf prologue. And there is this quest where you're supposed to get a bow back when you're going through the heirlooming quests, where you're supposed to kill the signature in order to recover this bow. Well, this is the first time where I decided to finish that quest by killing the mob inside the instance where you do the midnight rescue instead of doing it on the landscape, because when you pop in and that mob is there walking outside. So I just was able to just catch him in range because he was outside the invisible wall, but he's willing to run inside the invisible wall if you get his attention.
Wow.
And in my Bjorning series, I completed book 13 and I've run through most of 14. And book 14 is where you're introduced into the wonderful world of session play. And I also today learned that there are actually people who are insane enough to run races with war steeds in Rivendell.
Uh-huh.
Gosh.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, just to me, the thought of running with a war steed in Rivendell sounds like a terrifying.
Well, look at it this way,
thought.
Pineleaf. If you're really, really wild and get way off course, you at least get to run over Elrond. So at the end of the day, it's all
Wow.
good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I couldn't believe seeing all these people in war steeds running across the finish line.
Wow.
As I mean, they're going through these narrow, yeah, because it's very easy to fall off in Rivendell. I mean, some people have fallen off before war steeds were invented. I hate to think of people racing on those things
Well,
in
it's
Rivendell.
like NASCAR, Pineleaf. You can't go full speed the whole time. You have to slow down for the curves and apparently the log bridges that are just randomly in the middle of the road. So you got to slow down for those and, go
Well,
down to one war steed speed.
I think since the curves go in both directions, it's probably closer to Formula One than the NASCAR. But
Well,
all
fair
right.
enough.
I
You
mean,
got to
I
slow
admit,
down either way.
I almost always have my war steed on and just use it. I'm used to it. Even though I have a heavy war steed on my Guardian, I still ride it through Bree and through Rivendell and stuff.
Well, in Rivendell, I think I might go at most a canter, probably a trot. If I'm on a war steed in Rivendell, more likely than not, I use a regular steed instead. And also, I started a Minecraft series where I'm going to be doing a build related to each of the skirmishes in LOTRO, which is why it's relevant
Wow.
to here.
Interesting.
And we'll see how that goes. And it looks like most likely my first project is going to be Thungelhad.
Best of luck, Pineleaf. I'm really interested to see what
Yeah,
you do with this
just
series.
doing Dongle Hot sounds like it's going to be a major achievement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
no doubt.
really interested to see what you do with this series. I enjoyed the first episode and can't wait to see where it goes.
All right then. Terry Adwin, what did you do?
Well, I led the way for Mythgard Monday's tour of Goblin Town this week,
Ooh.
You did a
which yeah, it was
heck of
pretty
a job.
exciting 'cause, um I think it was the first for Mythgard Monday because we actually didn't get separated. Because every time they
Wow.
tried to get every time they tried to get separated, I was like, nope, we're turning around, we're gonna go back and get him. um,
We had a
so
guy join us too. We swarmed over some poor dude that was there, and we said, "Oh, join us."
yeah, that was fun.
Oh, and Corey, we kept leaving Corey behind because he kept looking at the architecture.
Yeah, we
Right.
mostly had to go back for Corey because Corey was like
Looking
staring
at the murals, looking
looking
at
at
the
the murals,
columns.
looking at the columns, trying to figure out the yeah. So, but nobody died.
Nobody
So
died.
nobody died, and we didn't get all separated. It was pretty cool.
And some people actually got all of Bilbo's buttons too. So that was
Yeah,
cool.
some people actually finished the Bilbo's Buttons deed. We were gonna do the instance, but we ran out of time.
Next
So,
time, not
yeah.
this Monday because we're skirmishing with Pineleaf this Monday, but the following Monday we'll do it.
Yeah. And then I started rebuilding Heightbolt on my hunter, which she's the second character to get there, but she's actually on level for it. She's a little under level. She's a level 84. But this accomplishes two things because, not only can I do the stuff for Heightbolt, I can do the snowburn quests for aiding the aiding the Sutcrofts, which will get rep for the Sutcrofts so I can get her port to Snowborn. Because I was like, I really just want to do the epic. I don't want to do Rohan again, but that you end up not getting the rep that you need for the
Right.
for the port. So she's doing Hypebold quests until I can get her to 85 and get the rep. And then Terry Edwin is doing Central Gondor dailies because I'm trying to get the rep so I can get that stupid scavenging rat pet for my burglar. Because ever since I saw that in the barter list, I was like, I need that for my burglar.
All right then. And Ending, what did you do?
Yes, well, Pineleaf, I did a bit of PvP. This was mostly because of an email somebody sent in about not an exploit that you can do, but something that can happen in PvP, and I have a video on my channel for those that are curious, but I'm not wanting to share it because I found out it's not actually something you're supposed to do. So, yeah, there's something in PvP that's happening that apparently people aren't supposed to have. That I accidentally did, but the video's up on my
super
channel.
vague.
Okay.
But anyway, that got me back into PvP, and
Well, I thought you meant it got you banned.
hopefully not. But anyway, hopefully they'll make it because okay, I'll just say what it is. There's mail in the on creep side because apparently, and this is just a theory, nobody really knows why, but basically if you get a mail from someone, then you can then mail other people.
Mhm.
And people think that it's because a dev sent a mail to a player on creep side, and then that allowed them to send mail to other players if you're VIP.
That is correct.
And so apparently this is not supposed to be a thing that you're supposed to be able to do.
Oh.
And yeah.
Oops.
And so anyway, that got me into PvP, so big thanks to Barniverse for tipping me off on that. And so I've been kind of enjoying actually getting back into it because it's been really over a year since I've actually taken the time to really give it another look into because I had been playing for over a year with Fellowship of the Creeps and a lot more before that, and just was really burnt out on PvP in general, but I was surprised by how overpowered defilers are right now. Compared to where they were, their heals are really, really good. I was able to I have a rank 7 defiler, and I was able to solo take TA, which is the largest keep in there. It took forever.
Oh yeah.
But because the heals are so strong, and if you have enough power pots, you can do it on the rank 7 Defiler if you really want to. Um, and so I definitely could not do that before, so that was surprising to see how much better the heals are. Um, and they almost seem too powerful, but it's exactly what I needed was an overpowered class to get back into PvP because it was so underpowered when we left it. And so that is definitely something I enjoyed. I also got together with a group, an open group on Landerville, and I was surprised because there wasn't any grouping going on when I left as well. And I thought that PvP might be dead on Landerville, but it seems to be really thriving right now. There was a full raid that was on there, so that was really cool to be part of that, and getting XP and all that stuff. And so I'm thinking now about once my YouTube channel reaches 500,000 views, which we're getting really close, to start doing PvP streams to celebrate that milestone, and then keep doing them after if that one goes well. So be on the lookout for that in the coming weeks.
I will say that the reason why the damage and healing and stuff is so overpowered is because it has to keep up with the updates with the freeps. So it's like
Right, yeah.
everything's insanely overpowered for all the PvE stuff, but for actual fighting other people, it's actually surprisingly okayly balanced
Well,
right
what I
now.
didn't mention is I totally owned a lot of high-ranking minstrels in 1v1s, so I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that. But yeah, so it seemed very overpowered when I was doing 1v1s with healing classes, and that kind of surprised me.
All right, very well then. We currently have 6 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious group of players, you could support LOTRO players. Go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even a guest spot on an episode of LOTRO Players News. And do you know how far we are from our next goal?
We are getting kind of close, Pineleaf. If kind of close means that we're exactly where we were the last few weeks. We are a little over $25 away from getting to the 5,000 turbine point code giveaway, which would be just awesome if we could be able to
That
do
would
that.
be awesome.
And so it just takes a few supporters. I mean, between Guild Wars and DDO and LOTRO, it shouldn't be too terribly hard to do. So be on the lookout for that, and hopefully help make it happen.
And
Yeah.
we'll also be on the lookout for any new reviews that we may someday get through iTunes. But we do have some featured comments. Barnabas left us a comment on the prediction article. Traveler's tip: never visit Mount Doom during the ring melting season. Wait till the off season. But most importantly, do you think we will finally be able to visit the stone beans?
This is an awesome comment, and if you're a longtime fan of LOTRO Players News, you definitely realize that the Atheros joke has not died. No matter how much he was hoping that years later, even when he's not even on the show anymore, that he would die off. But apparently people still remember. So thank you, Barnabas, for that. That really put a smile on my face. And I did not know that there was a ring melting season, but okay.
I believe it's in late March or something like that.
I believe you're right.
Yes. Erithard, could you please read Benetherin?
Uh,
Beretalians.
Okay. I would much rather see the scourging of the Shire and the Grey Havenings than Runa Harad. Before we get there, the Black Gate and the Morgul Vale is a must too, in my opinion. I would rather hope that we get to see Kirith Ungol in some way too, a Frodo Sam session play and a raid later too. The second half of 2017 really has to be the Grey Havens and prepping to wave Gandalf, Frodo, and Elrond off into the west. Nothing else would beat that, in my opinion. Plus, that's a lot of work as someone is going to have to carry Elrond all the way across Eriador in his library as he literally can't leave it.
He does leave it in the start of Volume 3. He leads
That's
One
the
of the
library.
20 something Elrons probably leaves.
Man, we're gonna need everyone in their war steed to just carry all those books over to to the Grey
That's right.
Havens. I really want to see that happen now. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Also, I just now realized that I need to start preparing emotionally to say goodbye to those characters in 2017. That is
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be tough,
I had
man.
this totally like morbid thought of like, what do I want to be doing when the game finally does go down? Like, it's gonna go eventually, the game's gonna end, and it's not gonna stay online. What do I want to be doing? And I was like, do I want to be like on my org, like for one last howl somewhere, running into the one-shotters, or do I want to be on my guardian running face first into something, or do I want to be like with my kinship with one final swig from the in-league keg? And somebody on the forums actually had this cool idea. If they built a Valinor, and then you could not do anything there, but you'd go over there with your character when you decided that it was time. You'd go to Valinor, and then have like maybe 10 minutes before your character auto-deleted forever, like permadeath.
That's probably about accurate, actually.
And it would be cool. Like it would be lore appropriate, sort of.
That's right. That's right.
Sort of.
Well, not if you were an elf.
Well, not if you were an elf, but
Not for now. That's true.
whatever.
All right. All right. And Bragg also left a comment. And Terry, what did he?
Assuming we get a good, long, hard look at Mordor, and after the scouring of the Shire, of course, I would be most interested in either destroying the Mumakil pits in Harad with Aragorn, or venturing into Rhûn to find out what happened to the two blue wizards. That could be a compelling plotline with enough ambiguity around it to give Turbine lots of room for creative license. Did they stem the flow of troops to Sauron and aid in the War of the Ring? Did one get corrupted like Saruman while the other strove against him? Cheers, Bragavilla.
No.
Good
One point
ideas.
on the blue wizards is that Turbine is not allowed to directly reference them. That's why they did it indirectly during the Great River time, where you had these two blue factions of sorcerers that you had there. So they could refer to the blue wizards without saying that it had anything to do with the blue wizards.
Boy, I didn't even make that connection. Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Hello.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
they-
connection.
But you're right, because one's dark blue and one's light blue. That's
I
right.
figured
Yeah.
that out when I was in the Great River, so I hear you. It was very thin, but I was like, I'm wondering if the Blue Wizards went kind of wacko when they got over to the far east.
Yeah, we're not
And the-
we're
and
not
these
sure.
are their
Yeah, but
minions.
It's
Yeah.
possible that they could have just gone out fighting and they're like, whoa, those are really powerful dudes. We should now copy their cosmetic choices because that's clearly what needs to happen. Anyway,
uh,
I don't like that idea. But
okay, very well. Let's go into emails. DJ Pimp Daddy wrote us a letter, and let's see, Carvette, could you please read this?
Sure thing. At levels above the first 30, like mid-game and end-game, which usually provides better equipment for solo play, quest drops, skirmish camps, solo drops, or critical crafting. We discussed this earlier. My best take is, for the most part, between 30 and 50. Crit crafted gear is my choice, but if you don't have access to crit crafted gear, skirmish camps and overquesting in terms of, trying to get stuff a level or two up usually is awesome from the quests. We also discussed that epic gear tends to be a little bit better than the other stuff. I'll continue on with the letter though. I have been playing for 3+ years now, and I recently started messing around more with crafting or AH purchases, auction house. Yet I hear on various podcasts that skirmish camps are a way to get decent gear. My main is sitting at level 50 with a Stone of Tortoise and Agmar. Being a guardian is making the journey fun, but sometimes I feel playing solo requires a tad more planning and protection. Potions are my friend. So far, I have survived almost 100% off of quest drops. In the past 2 weeks, I caught the Altaholic bug and now have a character with all professions, so the crafting route is looking a lot sweeter. Feel free to pass the question around since we know what answer Pineleaf will give. Anyways, Beetlejuice. Let me know if Beetlejuice pops out next to Pineleaf after he reads it out loud, except
this is a
Pineleaf tossed it to
podcast.
me.
We can't tell. He's all the way on the other side of the world. We don't know.
Besides, DJ Pimp Daddy, not DJ, sorry,
It
Corvette,
would
I
be
mean.
Corvette that would get it. That's right.
Corvette ready.
Nah, Beetlejuice ain't got no power here. You have no power here. Be gone. Anyway, your faithful shield against the shadow, DJ Pimp Daddy, which is, I guess, this name of his character is Sarah the Naughty Landreval, and P.S. looking for fellowship for most instances, please. And I say to that, DJ Pimp Daddy, check your Twitter feed, send me a tweet. We'll organize something between the two of us because I got friends. This is Carvette, by the way.
This is Carvet, by the way. That's awesome. All right.
All right, there. Yes, there are several ways to get gear in the game, and yeah, I tend to use quest gear for most of the part. I do sometimes get the skirmish gear if it's a major upgrade, but I usually get along with quest gear unless there's a compelling reason to do otherwise.
Because
Yes.
Pineleaf just wants to get as many marks as possible. He wouldn't waste it on gear. Come on, DJ. Don't think that he'd do that type of thing. In all seriousness, though, I've had characters that literally just do skirmishes to level up, and I have, well, obviously they have to get to level 20 first, but I have really, I think that skirmish gear is definitely really viable, especially if you're only planning to do skirmishes after that. Um, but yeah, skirmish gear is definitely really good, and in some cases better than the epic story stuff. And in one case, I don't remember which expansion it was, but skirmish gear was actually a little bit better than one of the raiding gear drops for one of the pieces that I had, which I was really surprised by. But I think that that was probably not intended.
Yes, but was the raid piece part of a set that would have given you a better bonus?
I factored that in, and it was
Oh,
still
you
better with
factored
the
that
skirmish
in.
camp. Yeah.
Yeah. Although honestly, there's one other thing I forgot to mention is that when you're at level 50, like if you're camped there, the best thing to do is get some folks to grind out some of the skilled instances, because at level 50, really the best stuff you're going to get is the purple or even the teal
Yeah.
skilled instance stuff, because that stuff has got ridiculous stats on it.
Yeah, it does. Keep watching everybody else in our level 50 group get nice little shinies.
That's right. Now, you can contact us by emailing us at podcast@lotroplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, the Lotro Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Andang at PVMP_Andang, Erithert at Erithert, Braxwolf at Braxwolf, Carvette at Carvette LP, Maven at Lotro Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin, and Lily Kate at Lily Kate Buggins. The Players Alliance has 3 live shows every week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Guild Wars Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And you can join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.